You see that Warner Bros. Put another movie in the vault for a $30 million tax write-off? Yeah, those goddamn scoundrels. I saw that. It was for the Wile Coyote movie. Which apparently was really good. The Coyote vs. Acme. A live-action and animation hybrid featuring the Looney Tunes and starring John Cena. So the movie was done, and they shelved it because they got a $30 million tax write-off for it, which is so crazy. Why? Why do that? They should be punished for it. You made the film and refused to release it in order to just collect a $30 million check? You shouldn't be rewarded for that. That seems so counterintuitive. These are resub faceless. In tier 1. Gonzalez. They lost 40 mil on this then. Yeah, but like, I just don't get it. I don't understand. It's already done. It was doing well. Animated movies are always at least somewhat powerful in the box office, especially the good ones. They have legs. I just don't see why they wouldn't release it. I really don't get it. Batgirl I can kind of understand with superhero fatigue, even though they took a fucking fat loss on that. They probably would be better off just releasing it. But I can somewhat rationalize it because superhero movies are struggling. But not animated movies, and certainly not good ones. Ooh, Jesus, thank you, Aaliyah. It took 5 people and 45 minutes for a 198-pound steak in Florida. Didn't hear about that. And I didn't know that was coming out, Corks. Maybe I will. You watching Loki Season 2? No. I liked Loki Season 1 and then just couldn't even be bothered to start Season 2. Hope it's good, though. I marveled out. Wouldn't be surprised if someone saw Looney Tunes back in action, saw how that flopped, and didn't want another flop like that. I guess. But it was such a different time back then in the box office. I've heard of him, Zerudo, but I haven't watched. And I've not heard about that game, Pro. Why did you give Marvels a 25 when it deserved like a 10? I think you guys are a little confused on the MoistCr1tikal rankings. Let's go into the 10% ballpark. 10% ballpark means it just barely exists in a functional state. So 2% is the lowest I ever gave, and that was to Gene Rain. And the only reason it's a 2% instead of a 0 is because the game turns on and you can play it. 5% is the lowest I've ever given to a movie, and that was reserved for Wish Upon, which to date is still one of the stupidest films ever written. And then moving on to 10%, I think 10% is what I gave Birth of the Dragon, which was an absolutely insulting Bruce Lee film the WWE pumped out that actually just made him the villain of his own movie, and it was insultingly awful. So, while the Marvels is bad, it's not to that level yet. It's just not, it's not at that level. There are still a couple of decent moments in the movie. What are some bands you'd recommend? Way too many to even begin. I have no idea. I don't even know where I'd start you. Is it fun bad at least? No. There is nothing fun bad about the Marvels. It's just legitimately a waste of time. The Gentlemen. Oh yeah, you can check out The Gentlemen if you want. They just released a brand new EP. It's like the best of the year. Do you think the best thing Marvel could do right now is just slow the release to focus on quality, or do you think the lack of direction is the driving factor? It's 100% just the lack of direction. Even if they stop... Okay, let's say there were no Marvel movies or shows that came out this year. The Marvels dropping would still be an abomination. It would still be terrible. Because they don't have direction. They don't have anyone at the helm even bothering to give an iota of a fuck about the property that they're making a movie on. Like, they're making movies that don't make sense. It's not the quantity. I mean, the quantity doesn't help with them pumping out so many, it makes people fatigued, but like it's the actual individual films themselves that have become very bad. Plus, like, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was a banger, and that was still in a sea of other Marvel properties. It really is just individually, these movies on their own for the most part are shitty, aside from rare cases like Guardians 3. Thanks for you sub Biffy. And the membership, Dolphin. James Gunn built different. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. James Gunn, he does good work. He really does. He clearly had a lot of passion there. And speaking of James Gunn, just in case you didn't know, he was also behind this Coyote vs. Acme, which has just been shelved. So, unlucky. Thanks, Resub Paul. They wouldn't even bet on a James Gunn. This isn't surprising, but IGN gave the Marvels an 8. I actually watched that review because I heard they had given it an 8 out of 10. And I just don't know what they watched. I listened to that review and I am convinced the reviewer didn't watch it. They just went in with an assumption of what the movie was going to be. And they rated it based on that and nothing else. Because everything they describe in that review is not present in the movie. It's just not. It's not there. Baldur's Gate, I think, is going to win Game of the Year, yeah. And thanks to that, Yakov. I think they surpassed Island. It somehow has an 85% audience score, which means nothing. I've said this 1,000 times. I don't think the audience score or anything on Rotten Tomatoes matters at all. It's sometimes fun to just look around at, but it means nothing. It's either super fans to try and boost or super haters to try and plummet, and nothing in between. There's just no real value from it. Thanks to the resub Serene. Thanks to the resub Action. I have not finished Lords of the Fallen yet. I just finished Alan Wake 2, so now it's Spider-Man 2 that I'm going to finish next. I saw you posted that, lol. Don't save your mental health. Yeah, I just did not really get into Lords of the Fallen. Like, it's not bad, it's just very mediocre. And in a sea of good Souls-like games, I don't know why you'd bother. I honestly think it's worse than the original. Okay, let's not get carried away. The new Lords of the Fallen isn't good, but it is not worse than the original. The original is unplayable. The new one's just mediocre. How is Alan Wake? Incredible. Actually incredible. I will say I wasn't like blown away by the gameplay, but I didn't need to be, because that's not the crux of it. It's a very creative, very fun, very interesting game. And now after playing it and finishing it, I can say that I still agree with my original thoughts that the ending is still not exactly what I would have liked to see the direction go. I don't want to get in spoilers, but after 13 years, I don't like that that's where it leaves it off. It feels like there was a lot more they could have done with it. But everything else I think is incredible. No, I'm not in the Zelda movie. Not that I know of. Yeah, I saw that forklift police chase. We talked about it. There's more. The new game plus is adding more to the story. Is it? I didn't know that. No, it's not the actual content of the ending I don't like. It's the position of... We're gonna... Spoiler alert for Alan Wake 2. Fair warning, so I can explain what I mean. I'm not going to spoil the whole story or anything, but let me explain. I don't like that after 13 years, Alan Wake 2 ends with basically the exact same questions we had from Alan Wake 1 without real answers. I do like the ending. I think it's a strong ending, but for 13 years, I would have liked to have built up to more answers instead of be basically in like a similar position as we started. Okay, and that's the end. Oh, thank you for the big drop, Nimrod. That was very sweet. Thank you for the generosity. That's kind of the point, though. I get that that's what they want to do with the ending. I'm just saying I personally don't like that because it took 13 years. Like, that's a long time to wait on bated breath on the edge of your seat and still not get anything really answered about the overarching lore. Thanks to resub entitled. That's all I'm saying. I would have liked a little more there. So we're not just starting from square one. Still. Not sure, Krilly. No idea.